May go fun, everybody, and welcome back to another stream. We're diving back into another episode of Ranger Readings today. It's going to be a lot of fun diving back into the Bible and Encyclopedia Eorzea yet again. And and then tomorrow we'll be doing the big Final Fantasy XIV collab with Kaiden. Very much looking forward to that. But happy April Fools to everybody. Hope you've been fooled a lot today. I know I've been having a lot of fun seeing all the goofiness. At least this April Fools, it feels like there's been more goofiness and less deception so far. From what I've seen, obviously there's exceptions either way. But mostly just seeing a lot of goofiness across the internet today, and I love it. Most recent thing was one of the YouTube channels that I see cover a lot of like metal songs did a cover of Bakshin from Uma Musume today with a very funny video, which I posted to my Discord because what the hell was that? But it was funny. It was funny. But yeah, so anyway, on that note, we're gonna be jumping right in without further ado and getting the reading started. And excited to do another episode of Ranger Readings. And I do believe today we are going to be on... Check here before I switch to my camera. Okay, yeah, so we are on... Right, because we're two... No, wait. Are we 2 or 3 behind? Am I confused? I'm trying to remember what chapter I read last. So it should be 2. We're on episode 9, I think, right? Me forgetting my own episode that I'm on. Yes, 9. So that would put us at chapter... Oh, yeah, chapter... Okay, yep. I am overthinking this. Okay, cool. All right, so we are going to be reading Genesis chapter 7, and also finishing off reading the lore about the Shroud Gridania area in Final Fantasy XIV in Encyclopedia Eorzea. So yeah, without further ado, let's get this party started and get reading. Stand by as I get set up. Okay, everybody, it is time yet again. That was officially the fastest transition I've ever done for this. Let's see. So, we're going to be jumping back into the 1599 Geneva Bible, followed by Encyclopedia Eorzea Volume 1, and getting the reading going. So, without further ado, let's get started. We're going to be starting with the 1599 Geneva Bible, still my favorite version of the Bible, because I'm a history nerd to a certain extent. And, we're going to be reading Genesis chapter 7 today, which is the start, well, not the start, but the start technically of the flood story is 6, but the start of the actual flood story is 7, if you Bible readers know what I mean. So, yeah, we're going to be jumping in and getting started, and hopefully I don't butcher a lot this time. Well, who am I kidding? I always do that. Anyway, so, without further ado, Genesis chapter 7. And the Lord said unto Noah, Enter thou and all thine house into the ark, for I have seen righteousness before me in this age. Of every clean beast thou shalt take to thee by sevens, the male and his female, but of unclean beasts by couples, the male and the female. Of the fowls also of the heavens by sevens, male and female, to keep seed alive upon the whole earth. For 7 days hence I will cause it to rain upon the earth 40 days and 40 nights, and all the sustenance that I have made I will destroy from off the earth. Noah therefore did according to all that the Lord commanded him. And Noah was 600 years old when the flood of waters came upon the earth. So Noah entered, and his sons, and his wife, and his sons' wives with him unto the ark, because of the waters of the flood, of the clean beasts, and of the unclean beasts, and of the fowls, and of all that creepeth upon the earth. And there came 2 and 2 unto Noah into the ark, male and female, as God had commanded Noah. And so after 7 days the waters of the flood were upon the earth. In the 600th year of Noah's life, in the 2nd month, in the 17th day of the month, in the same day were all the fountains of the great deep broken up, and the windows of heaven were opened, and the rain was upon the earth 40 days and 40 nights. And I completely forgot to say, taking a pause in the reading, welcome to the chat, Wolfie. Totally forgot to say that. I will get you a shout out when I am done with this. In the selfsame day entered Noah with Shem and Ham and Japheth, the sons of Noah, and their wives, and Noah's wife and the 3 wives of his sons with them into the ark. And they and every beast after his kind, and all cattle after his kind, and everything that creepeth and moveth upon the earth after its kind, and every fowl of his kind, even every bird of every feather. For they came unto Noah into the ark 2 and 2 of all flesh, wherein is the breath of life. And they entering in came male and female of all flesh, as God had commanded him, and the Lord shut him in. And the flood was 40 days upon the earth, and the waters were increased, and bare upon the ark, which was lifted up above the earth. The waters also waxed strong, and were increased exceedingly upon the earth, and the ark went upon the waters. The waters prevailed so exceedingly upon the earth, that all the high mountains that were under the whole heaven were covered, which explains why you can find fossils of sea animals on top of Mount Everest. Because that wouldn't make sense unless you understand science from a biblical worldview. Shout outs to Answers in Genesis and creation scientists for that one. Clearly I am a nerd, so I know all that stuff. Anyway, yeah, 15 cubits upward did the waters prevail when the mountains were covered. Then all flesh perished that move upon the earth, both fowl and cattle and beast, and everything that creepeth and moveth upon the earth, and every man, everything in whose nostrils the breath of life did breathe. Whatsoever they were in the dry land, they died. So he destroyed everything that was upon the earth, from man to beast, to the creeping thing, and to the fowl of the heaven. They were even destroyed from the earth. And Noah only remained, and they that were with him in the ark. And the waters prevailed upon the earth 150 days. All right. Good old Genesis account. Still one of my favorites, because as someone who loves fossils and has gone fossil hunting before, yeah, I that was like one thing I really delved into high school, was like fossils and like understanding it from different worldviews, and just the creation worldview makes so much sense if you consider all the fossils across the whole earth were buried in a global flood, and that would explain why they were able to be preserved so well if they were rapidly buried, whereas the evolutionary theory that they were gradually buried on riverbanks kind of just doesn't make sense in that case. Also why there's sea creatures across the entire globe, including on the top of mountains, makes so much more sense. Anywho, there is our Bible reading for today. Still love this edition of the Bible. And next time we will read Genesis chapter 8. And now for our second book. Oh, Encyclopedia Eorzea, which we will be reading today about the different areas of the Shroud, which I am very much looking forward to. Because last time we read about actual Gridania and all the guilds and, you know, whatnot. So so this is going to be, I think... That's it? I thought there was another area. There's only 4? Yeah, no, that's right. Yeah, north, south, north, east, and central? Where's South Shroud? Oh, no, south, north, east, and central. There's no West Shroud. Why was I thinking there was a West Shroud? What? Questioning my own brain. All right, well, this is going to be a quick Ranger reading episode. Dang. Okay, yeah, we're just reading 4 pages today. That's crazy. Okay, cool. Nice and short. I would say leaves more time for drinking, to quote Lord of the Rings, but we won't be drinking after this. Except maybe some Sweet tea. Speaking of which, I should drink some right now. Ho, 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 ho. Doing my own hydrate redeem without it. Nice. Anyway, the Central Shroud. The area of the Twelveswood closest to Gridania, the Central Shroud is rich in water. In its north lies the Jadeite Flood. In the south sit twin lakes known as the Mere. In its interior flow the east and west vein streams. As one might expect, the Central Shroud is home to a veritable host of flora species. The Jadeite Flood. The shores of the Jadeite Flood form Gridania's southern edge. Its color, a deep green, is a reflection of the forest's canopy simmering upon the water's surface. And in that area you can find Gilbert's Spire. This watchtower is named in honor of Gilbert Trueshot, a hero of Gridania in the early days of the city-state. An archer of extraordinary skill, he was the first to carry the vaunted Tide of God's Bow. Oh, yeah, right, that was mentioned earlier. Or title of God's Bow. The Bannock. Built around the stump of a fallen heavens pillar, the Bannock serves as training grounds for the Order of the Twin Adder Initiates. Well, I wonder what they mean by heavens pillar. There are several theories regarding the origin of the area's name. Some claiming it is taken from the hard tack issued to Grand Company recruits. Others that was derived from the training stump's resemblance to those self-same rations. I see. The standing corpses. Or courses. Standing courses. Interesting. When Bahamut descended upon the realm, his fiery onslaught turned the standing courses to ash. Hardened in the inferno, the trees now seem the withered husks of men crouched together in eternal agony. Spriggan Dig. After the calamity, Spriggans converged on this area in search of corrupted crystals in such numbers that the area became their domain. However, in the 5 years since, they have devoured almost every crystal, leaving the place a bare wasteland. Dang. Freaking Spriggans, man. Sorrel Haven. Sorrel Haven takes its name from fallen sorrel leaves, a common herb found throughout the Black Shroud, but in abundance in this particular area, which turned the damp forest floor a distinctive purple-brown. Hawk Manor. Hey, otherwise known as Maniac Manor if your name is Kaiden. Long frowned upon by the people of Gridania as a symbol of excess, the Seed Seers would finally submit to pressure from the Sensory, sealing the deed to the manor to Lady Amantine of House Duranticours. The word Huke is of ancient Pajali origin and means to speak without words. Also, that place ends up being corrupted by Voidsent, so that's a thing. Sanguine Perch. The Death Gazes made Sanguine Perch their roost when they came to the Twelveswood, though from where no one knows. By all accounts, they have turned it into a nightmarish scene by hanging the flesh of their prey upon branches for keeping. What the heck? Bro. Jeez. That's kind of brutal. Hope Seed Pond. Hope Seed... Oh, yeah, also this picture down here in the bottom left is Hawk Manor from the outside. Hope Seed Pond. Hope Seed Pond formed where a fragment of Dalamud left a fracture in the ground. Due to an overwhelming earthen aspect in the area, the floor around the pond's banks has grown at an unnatural rate. Brent Branch. I know that area well. With a name describing the crooked intersection of two trade-heavy thoroughfares, Brent Branch is the starting point of the Fur Line, which wends its way northwest to Corythus, and the Lumber Line, which proceeds to Thanalan in the south. Brent Batch Meadows. Once Moogle Gift Mounts was established and its rookery stocked with Ishgard's finest birds, it was not long before an entire settlement had grown up around the stables. The trademark balloon tethered to the main building is actually an Exali war vessel, claimed by Chocobo Keeps after it became tangled in a nearby tree and was abandoned by its riders. Dang. Now I know the context behind that giant Moogle balloon. Gavaneth Spire. This watchtower takes its name from Gavaneth the Dominator, a ruler during the later days of Gelmora. Legend has it that he could slay 10 Ixal with one thrust of his great polearm. Man, wow. The Matron's Lethe. As if forgotten by Nafika herself, one mighty tree root endures upon a sheer cliff created by geological upheavals of the calamity. As this allows for passage upwards, the Gridanians have seen it as a blessing and taken to calling it Matron's Lethe. Interesting. The Mere Planks. A pier built by fishermen who earn their livelihood on the lake. The Mere Planks also service conveying logging convoys. There we go. Yeah. Of late is where the ferry puts in to take adventurers to the residential districts. Oh, yeah. Yep, that's where the residential districts are. Someday I'll get a house in there. Sniffle. Lilystone. Boulder appearing suddenly upon the mere. Lilystone is named for the water flora that sprouts in abundance nearby. Evershade and the Guardian Tree. Having seen over 1,000 summers, the Guardian Tree is purportedly the oldest arbor in all the Black Shroud and home to the Great One, an elder elemental who watches and presides over the forest denizens. The fruit borne by the tree resembles a plum and is sought after across the great 3 continents for its curative properties. The Tamtara Deepcroft. Oh boy, here we go. The Tamtara Deepcroft was once an underground burial site for Galmorans and still serves the people of Gridania. It has also gained renown as the final resting place of Gavith the Dominator. Oh. Huh. Interesting. Green Tier. Just beyond the waters of the East Vein. Green Tier is a stretch of forest wherein the elementals have permitted men to harvest timber. As such, the air is always thick with the sounds of woodcutters chopping and sawing. And in that area we have Gabiniax's Bower. I hope I said that right. A small cabin for loggers of the Botanist Guild. Gabiniax's Bower takes its name from the woodcutter's hard-working overseer. Interesting. Naked Rock, a section of cliff face that has fallen away to reveal the rough surface beneath. Naked Rock is the nest for vicious raptors, a fact many a traveler has stumbled upon or into only after it was too late. Dang. Spirit Hold. A structure initially built in the days of Gomorrah, Spirit Hold has found a new use as a prison to hold enemies of the forest while they await judgment. Whether the same can be said after the calamity is unclear. Some also refer to the crumbling ruin as Warren's Hold after the cell's first Gowler. Oh, I know what that is. Yeah, that was that area where you first run into an Ascian if you start in Gridania. Yep. All right. The East Shroud. The western edge of the East Shroud sits near Gridania proper and is the center of the city's thriving agricultural industry. Its eastern sections are the Demesne of the Sylphs. Oh. Plant Lake Beastmen. Yes, our favorite lettuce fairies. Many of whom do not take kindly to the presence of trespassers. Finally, one can find a Garlean stronghold in the southwestern reaches of the East Shroud, a feat of imperial engineering completed shortly before the calamity. The Honey Yard. The plethora of blossoms in this area make it the ideal location for beekeepers to set up their wooden hives. Unfortunately, the Honey Yard also draws all manner of fiends hungry for honeybees and their golden syrup. And in that area you have Sweet Bloom Pier. Bordering the Whispering Gorge, Sweet Bloom Pier serves as a port of call for the ferry traveling to Gridania. Waiting passengers can enjoy the sight of countless wildflowers and the scent of nectar wafting through the air. Full Flower Comb. Led by Rosa Hawkthorne, the beekeepers of Full Flower Comb have gained renown for the excellent honey and beeswax their hives produce. 9 Ives. As the name would suggest, 9 Ives is known for the many species of ivy found in the area. The Order of the Twin Adder have increased their presence in the area, keeping watch for both encroaching sylphs and Garlean forces. And in that area, you have the Hawthorne Hut, named after the legendary Hawthorns, scourges of the mountain. This hut is home to the current generation of the family. Rolf, the patron, a retired adventurer, welcomes visitors into a small cottage so that he might enjoy their company and tales. Jocelyn's Spire. Both Wood Whalers and God's Quiver are stationed in the strategically located watchtower named for a legendary captain of the whalers. Amarizix's Spire. I hope I said that right. Built in haste to monitor the Garlean forces who recently marched on the Twelveswood from the northeast, this spire is Gridania's newest watchtower. It takes its name from a leader of the Gold Bulls who perished in the Battle of Cartano after valiantly engaging the Imperial army. Dang. Little Solace. Little is the solace granted to those sylphs who would voice their opposition to the summoning of the Lord of Levin. Little is the solace bequeathed upon those who would abandon their homes in the Sylphlands and shun their frenzied brethren. Thus, it is only through fraternity that those sylphs may ultimately find solace, however little it may be. And finally, Castromorians. Behind this Garlean outpost stands Balzar's Wall, and behind that lies Girobania, a region of the imperially occupied Alamigo, that you later free later in the game. Lark's Call. While the songs of its namesake birds do fill the air, Lark's Call is a buffer betwixt Gridania and the Sylphlands. Adventurers and travelers are to enter at their own peril. Trying to think where that is. Is that like part of the purple area of the Sylphlands? I think it is. And speaking of the Sylphlands, the domain of the Beastmen of the Black Shroud. The Sylphlands are filled with the touched followers of Ramu. Hostile to outsiders, these thralls of the wizened primal have fostered poisonous mushrooms to protect the region, driving the environment to the precipice of cataclysm. Moon Spore Grove. In the swath of the Sylphlands grow more moon spores, gargantuan fungi that purge foul elements from the air. The Seedbed. Illuminated in the soft glow of countless moon spores, the seedbed is an ancient arbor-turned nursery used by the sylphs to grow and incubate their offspring, also known as podlings. The Gold Leaf Dais. Sylphkind fashioned the Gold Leaf Dais that they might hold gatherings and celebrations. Hanging Barbs. One can find the curious dwellings of the sylphs precariously suspended from tree limbs in the Hanging Barbs. And finally, the Bramble Patch. By reputation, the mighty thorns of the Bramble Patch are a playground to the Moogles. Indeed, they seem to enjoy provoking the local beastkin and treants, and watching the chaos that ensues as the creatures attempt in vain to pursue the mischief makers into the patch's prickly depths, man. Freaking Moogles. The Sanctum of the 12 is the most notable thing in there, which is actually quite big throughout the entire game, for more than one reason. This skyscraping ivory cathedral is built following the Age of Endless Frost, a dark period in which the realm was overrun with famine and disease, to serve as a place of refuge and respite for all who sought succor. Soon after, however, it fell into ruin and was all but forgotten, until the advent of the Seventh Umbral Era saw a need for its rise once again. The Age of Endless Frost. That was after the Age of the Magi, right? I think it was. Let's look back. See how far I have to go back to get to that. Oh, here we go. Yep, the Forgotten Age. Yeah. Oh, yeah, and it was mentioned back here, too. Huh. Interesting. Yep, okay, cool. Yeah, so it was built, like, just before the whole thing with Amdapor was. Okay, cool. So technically, that makes it, like, the last actual surviving structure of Amdapor, which predates Gilmora and Gridania. That's crazy. Cool. Also, there's a picture of it right there. Okay. Next up, we have the South Shroud. In the days of yore, the city of Amdapor flourished amidst the trees of the South Shroud. Now the lumber line cuts through the area from north to south. The merchants traversing the trading route must be wary of brigands, with an eye for their wares. Upper Paths. An area through which the lumber line passes. The upper paths lie close to Grenania in the southern tip of the South Shroud. Buscarin's Scar. Following the calamity, Grenania shifted the focus of its surveillance network. Thus, though it was once manned by a sentry named Buscarin, this lookout post has long since fallen into disuse and disrepair. Even though I think there still is a tavern there. Buscarin's Druthers. The Druthers is... oh yeah, that's the inn. Is run by a disfranchised ex-sentry turned tavern keep and welcomes all manner of folk from upstanding to unsavory, so long as they follow Buscarin's strong-arm simple rules of etiquette. Sit down, forget your worries, and savor your ale. The Thousand Maws of Totorak. Named after a man-eating creature from Pajali folklore, the Thousand Maws of Totorak was built on the site of a natural cave system beneath Silent Arbor. Until recently, it held all of Grenadia's foulest criminals, from arsonists to poachers, but the completion of a new gale closer to the city heralded its abandonment. It later becomes a dungeon. Isomhar. In a thicket some distance from the path, the way to Isomhar was opened by a rock that fell from the sky during the calamity. Within its gaping hole slumber untouched Galmorian ruins. What they contain, however, is a matter of no small speculation, as someone has placed a powerful ward upon the entrance. Yep, which is Palace of the Dead or Palace of the Disconnect, depending on if you know the joke from my community. The lower paths. From Thanaland, the lower paths act as a proverbial doorstep of the Twelveswood, and travelers passing through are greeted by the sight of Roots Lake and ancient Amdapori ruins. Camp Tranquil. A Grenadian outpost, Camp Tranquil stands atop a stone, towering over Roots Lake. The Sixth Spear of the Woodwhalers is garrisoned here, led by a former Company of Heroes member, Captain Landayel. Yep, I know that area. The Lost City of Amdapor. The Lost City of Amdapor has long been cloaked by the elementals so that none might stumble upon its terrible secrets. The calamity weakened the area's earth aspect, however, and the place now wants for a good cleansing of the fetid fungus that has infested its halls. Yep, that's a fun dungeon. Roots Lake. Wise travelers take to the bridges that hang between the great rocks protruding from this muddy marshland. These provide safe passage over the hands of the fell monsters that constantly prowl in the mire of Roots Lake. South Shroud Landing. Constructed by High Wind Skyways to serve as a landing for cargo airships. This location was quickly abandoned when the Imperial presence in the area became too large to ignore. Now the site is used as a makeshift market where bandits and poachers... Random yawn attacking me out of nowhere. Now the site is used as a makeshift market where bandits and poachers peddle their ill-gotten wares far from the eyes of the law. Suspicious. Earth's Gift. Ancient writings tell that in the exchange for her livelihood, Lady Earth was able to seal the dark divinity Odin in a crystalline prison beneath a bubbling wellspring. To honor her sacrifice, the land upon which she drew her last breath still bears her name. Which, is where Uthfant is, which is this crystal right here, where you can find Odin and eventually fight him. Always a fun fight. Snake Molt. Local legend has it that in ages past, it was this very spot that a great serpent shed its skin. A skin that remained undecaying for thousands of years until one day it simply vanished, but for a single scale. While some speculate that this creature is actually a wingless, legless worm, the matter remains a topic of debate within scholarly circles. Interesting. Huh. Huh. I wonder if you can find that single scale. Amdapor Keep, crafted for the defense of Amdapor, the stone stronghold was long hidden within the tangle of the 12-wood. This was by the will of the elementals, who sought to keep it away from the prying eyes of men since the sixth umbral calamity. However, even their wards could not withstand the most recent calamity, and now Amdapor Keep is once again visible to the forest. Silent Arbor. An area where the elementals permit hunting, Silent Arbor has been a source of concern in recent times. From trespassing poachers to roaming Duskwhite bandits to too many disturb the wood's peace for Gridania's comfort. Quarry Mill! Hey, I know that area. Once a deal had been struck between the Gelmorans and the elementals, allowing their return to the forest surface, the Elezen began unearthing large quantities of boulders to build the foundations of their new city, Gridania. The water wheels of Quarry Mill were raised to power the hammers, which rendered the massive stones into workable blocks. The Red Belly Hive, once the village of Bowbury? Interesting. The original residents fled their homes during the calamity. A notable band of outlaws known as Red Belly Wasps have since taken the place as their own. Now, Red Belly Hive is the site of many a skirmish between the bandits and the wood whalers, who attempt to reclaim it for the rightful owners. Taker's Rot. Taker's Rot serves as a lair to a band of Mikote poachers calling themselves the Coer Claws. For Gridanians, who see these criminals as rotten to the core, the hideout's name also serves as a curse upon the heads of these lawless hunters. Taker's Rot. That's definitely a name for a bandit area. The Moon Tui Cellars. These cellars ferment Moon Tui beans into beverages and seasonings, which are known throughout the realm as Gridanian delicacies. The network of cellars was much more extensive before tremors caused by the calamity caved in more than 3/4 of the fermenting and maturing chambers. Dang. The North Shroud. The final one. Bordering the Ishgardian region of Korthus, the North Shroud is the foremost battleground of the God's Quiver, who must stand and defend Gridania from Ixali war balloons that fly down from Zephitol in the northeast. Treespeak, an area just beyond Gridania's Yellow Serpent Gate. Treespeak gains its name from its closely knit branches. When a breeze passes through the canopy, the rustling sounds as if the elementals are whispering to one another. Treespeak Stables. Treespeak Stables is operated by Moogle's Gift Mounts. Its chocobo keeps make fine steeds of the noble birds that are bred and raised to adulthood at Branchbatch Meadows. Etat Spire. Like its brethren, the Watchtower bears the name of a historical Gridanian hero, Etat Rhi, a Pajal who made great contributions to the advancements of conjuring. And the Blessed Bud, which is also pictured right here. The Blessed Bud, thought to be the dwelling of an elemental. The Blessed Bud sprouted from a stump. It's said that passerbys can feel the force of its vitality. Dang. I wonder if I've ever been to that spot. The Peace Garden. Peace Garden serves to honor the memory of the mages who first spoke to the elementals, and hereby allowed Gridanians to live in the 12-wood. Hurst Mill. Though itself only a small hamlet on the edge of the North Shroud, Hurst Mill is perilously close to Ixali territory, and serves as an important supply outpost for the God's Quiver. Hurst Mill is also surrounded by various ruins significant for the study of history, as well as seemingly out-of-place creatures such as Deep Void Death Mouse. Also, that is pictured right here at the bottom. Alder Springs. Once a vast grove of giant alders, the flames of the calamity reduced the area to a charred graveyard, leaving nothing but the ancient hold but its name. Falgord Float. To demonstrate a village need not fell trees to secure space. Falgord Float was built atop a lake. Though the project may seem strange to outsiders, the villagers have grown quite fond of their bobbing home. The Bobbing Cork, I always forget there's two places in this area, because Falgord Float's like the main hub, but then you have Hearstmill, which is also where a certain relic guy with a bald head, you first run into him. But yep. Alright, the Bobbing Cork. Falgord floats in the Bobbing Cork, promises its beds are so soft as to make the weary traveler feel light as a cork drifting upon a still pond. Florentel Spire. Florentel, the legendary hero whose name the spire bears, is said to have been the lover of Eugenia, for whom another watchtower has been titled. Which is mentioned at the bottom. We'll get to that. Finder's Bluff. Miners from Ul'dah built this humble shack when they surveyed the mineral wealth of the surrounding areas. Proud Creek. Of late, this area to the north of Falgord Float is thick with Ixalis, who seem more numerous each day than the last. Gelmora Ruins. Beneath this area once sat the capital of Gelmora, whose tunnels stretched out far and wide. Now a little more than ruins of the great subterranean city remain. Really? It was up there. Interesting. Ixali logging grounds. The Ixal have never taken well to their banishment from the Black Shroud, and to this day continued to fell the hoary sentinels growing on the forest's outskirts. Too heavy to drag back to their settlements in that land, really? Or far away Zetaful. The ill-gotten lumber is tied to balloons buoyed with Ixali airstones and flown to the Beast Tribe's homeland under the cover of night. Dang. Eugenia's Spire. Following the other watchtowers, this tower takes its name from a hero of Gridania and is home to the White Rams. Located close to Ixali territory, this band of quivermen stationed at this outpost enter the fray often and fiercely. Dang. Alright. And on that note, next time we get to the final city-state. Ul'dah. Uldonut. Oh boy, this is going to be a fun read. How many pages is this going to be? Let's see. Let's do a little sneak peek. Yeah, this is not surprising me at all because it's also including Gold Saucer in here. Gosh dang it. Oh my goodness. Oh, so much to read next time. Well, we definitely got our short read today to kind of make up for it next time because we're going to have... And I have like almost 10 pages to read next time. Oh my goodness, just about the city of Ul'dah. Oh boy, that's more than Limsa, man. That's crazy. Freaking Ul'dah. Alright, well, on that note, everyone, another episode of Ranger Readings is concluded in the books. A lot shorter than I was expecting, but still fun. So, yeah, tomorrow, everybody, we will be doing a collab stream with Kite and Tej again, which is going to be a lot of fun. We'll be doing some Final Fantasy XIV stuff, checking out the Easter event, and then after that, doing some other fun if we have the time for it. And yeah, I will see you guys tomorrow for that. I am currently debating. Nah. We're going to end here. All right. Thank you all for coming out to the stream. We're going to go find someone to raid and show some love to on Twitch. So stand by as we do just that. And thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of Ranger Readings.